stage. At Duke University Sunday, about 30 students walked out of the commencement ceremony as comedian Jerry Seinfeld was being introduced. Seinfeld has supported Israel throughout the war against Hamas in Gaza, and here is some of what he then said in his address.
Sorry. What a like frozen shot to start off with of Seinfeld. Also, sorry to interrupt this. I saw this tweet. I don't know how to tell you kids, but Jerry Seinfeld at your graduation is going to be the highlight of your life, and you missed it. It's all downhill from here. Okay. So, a couple thoughts on that. Does Gen Z care about Jerry Seinfeld to begin with? Minus the like palling around with IDF soldiers and contributing to violent Zionist counter protesters. Gen Z, truly, do you care about Jerry Seinfeld? And also, this is the same guy who on his press tour for the movie Unfrosted, which is performing terribly, blamed Gen Z for ruining comedy. I mean, just starting off with that, I don't think Gen Z cares about Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah, that's, I don't know, maybe if this were 1995 graduates, it'd be more relevant. Like, I don't even think millennials give a shit about Jerry Seinfeld. I'm a millennial. I've never cared about Jerry Seinfeld. Anyway, starting with that. And then also, Jerry Seinfeld or any speaker being the highlight of your life, I think is really more telling of the person who tweeted this. Yael Bartor. Tweet about law enforcement, social media, and occasionally law enforcement social media. Well, I bet she has really great takes about law enforcement. I think that it's a reflection of her that she would say your commencement speaker is the highlight of your life. Yikes. Yikes. I don't care who the commencement speaker is. I don't care if Meryl Streep had given my commencement speech. If that were the highlight of my life, and I'm only 31, I'd be like, this feels sad. That is the biggest L that one could post. Real peaked in high school energy. Like, this isn't even you giving the commencement speech. This is a celebrity speaking at your commencement. I don't know. I don't think really anybody remembers their commencement speakers, even if they were somebody that they liked or thought were cool. Yeah, seeing a celebrity is the highlight of your life. Oh boy. Caroline, do you want to hear something incredibly sad? I graduated from SUNY Stony Brook in New York, and my commencement speaker was Chuck fucking Schumer. Well, I would say that's the highlight of your life. Chuck Schumer being your commencement speaker. What a win. Yeah, billionaire has graced all you small people with his time and you didn't appreciate. How dare you? Wow. It's also this funny idea that commencement is when you are now beginning your life, okay? You went to college. You obtained a degree. You are graduating from college, and now your life is beginning. That's the whole idea there. So if your life is actually ended before it's beginning, what a message. What a message that is. Oh, hey, you know how today is all about going forth into the world and striking the irons and accomplishing all these amazing things. And I don't know, it's supposed to be this like very fun, hopeful day, and it's about celebration, but it's about like you are now beginning the rest of your life. But hold on, actually, no, you're not, because the commencement speaker is the highlight of your life. It literally is downhill from here. There will never be anything that you do or that you're a part of that will ever top your commencement speaker being Jerry Seinfeld. Speed Racer, thank you for the 20 months. Mumbles, thank you for the 9 months. Yeah, so very cool. Great. Totally normal way of thinking.
I admire the ambitions of your generation to create a more just and inclusive society. I think it is also wonderful that you care so much about not hurting other people's feelings.
Why does he sound like a bee I've met before? Hey, that bee sounds familiar. Do you think that bee was one of the bees that stung all the IDF soldiers? You know, how many times are we going to hear someone who has just condemned young people for caring about other people and then say, by the way, I think it's so great that you care about people. I think it's so sweet that you care about justice. No, you fucking don't. And we also know that not just based on your actions, but on the words that you have said, where you specifically have condemned young people. As a non-American, I don't get why having random celebs at graduation speeches is a thing. It's because we're obsessed with celebrity culture, okay? The funniest thing is when it's celebs who didn't even go to that school. It'll be like Channing Tatum. Channing Tatum at Harvard University. Comes across condescending, like he thinks he's talking to a 5-year-old. Oh, that's so nice of you. Right, because all of these assholes are condescending. All of them. Every single one of these assholes who's like, these kids are fucking stupid. And then 2 seconds later, like, but how sweet it is. How sweet it is that you care so much. No, they're so condescending.
In the 1,000,001 ways, we all do that every second of every day. It's lovely to want to fix those things.
That is far from the only problem.
It's lovely to want to fix those things. Somebody who has no interest in social justice, somebody who has no interest in actually fixing things, is someone who uses the words, it's lovely to want to fix those things.
Tests to hit college commencement ceremonies over the weekend. CNN's Nick Valencia joins us now. What all happened, Nick?
Yeah, hey, Kate, good morning. Commencement season is upon us, and these pro-Palestinian demonstrators are choosing to voice their opposition to the war in Gaza in a variety of ways, some continuing to call for a ceasefire. And over the weekend, we saw that at commencement ceremonies across the country, really. Some chanted, others held signs, some draped themselves in Palestinian flags, calling for their schools to divest from Israel. But for the most part, these ceremonies went on without a hitch. In Southern California, though, there was a brief interruption. According to the New York Times, at least one person was arrested over a skirmish outside of Pomona College's graduation. They had to move their graduation 30 miles away from their campus. And at Duke University, we saw what happened there in the intro. Comedian Jerry Seinfeld, who's been a very vocal supporter of Israel since the Hamas terrorist attack.
He actually has a long list of 17 reasons that young people are wrong about comedy. Google Jerry Seinfeld 17. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Google Jerry Seinfeld High School. If you want to see more of his commencement work, just Google Jerry Seinfeld High School.
Attacked on October 7th. He was protested by a few dozen pro-Palestinian demonstrators who chose to walk out and have their own commencement ceremony. Across the country in California, at UC Berkeley, the dean of students had to take the microphone. There was a pause in ceremony there. And listen to what the dean of students had to say to try to get control again of that graduation ceremony.
Students, if you're open to it, I invite you to speak with me after the event in a space that's more appropriate. But
like, girl, you are not winning against the strength of those chants.
In the meanwhile, I ask that you allow the program to continue.
This is Berkeley.
Okay.
Who do you think you're kidding?
Because otherwise we're going to have to continue to have you leave, and that breaks my heart.
Does it? Does it?
The ceremony did
very
continue. No one was arrested.
Very speak to me after class vibes. Hey, so not the time, but if you'd like to have this conversation in a private setting, I will, of course, be happy to oblige.
And those demonstrators, we understand, did leave voluntarily. More commencement addresses and graduation ceremonies are planned across the country this week, and we're starting to see some schools try to get ahead of these potential demonstrations. We're just learning the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee has reached an agreement with pro-Palestinian demonstrators to dismantle their encampment by tomorrow. In exchange, they've agreed not to interrupt a graduation ceremony. In exchange, the university will join calls now for a ceasefire in Gaza. Kate?
Nick Valencia, thank you so much.
Little wins. Little wins.
As college commencement ceremonies.
Like wild that the concession there is for that university to join for calls for a ceasefire.
Continue, so do the protests. On Sunday, comedian Jerry Seinfeld was interrupted at Duke University's graduation ceremony.
In addition to receiving an honorary degree, Jerry is also serving as our commencement speaker today.
It looks so awkward.
Well, about 30 students walked out as the comedian was introduced. You can see some students waving the Palestinian flag. Here's
Who
how
picked
Seinfeld
him?
responded.
I don't know. I mean, the school did.
And I know all of you here are going to use all of your brains and muscle and soul to improve the world, and I know you're going to do a bang-up job. And when you're done, as I am now, I bet the world, because of you, will be a much better place. But it will still not make a whole hell of a lot of sense. And it is worth the sacrifice of an occasional discomfort to have some laughs.
By the way, this is the same man who goes to IDF fantasy camps, who takes his family to West Bank settlements where they engage in activities like shooting automated rifles at Palestinian targets. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second.
Meanwhile, Pomona College in Southern California moved its ceremony more than...
Very, very lovely. Yeah, so... Here's just a thread on this as a reminder, because of course, those who are, have pledged their loyalty to Israel are trying to claim that the students who walked out or booed Jerry Seinfeld did so because he's a Jewish man. That's not the case. They did so because Unfrosted is such a shitty movie. That's the reality here. They walked out of his commencement speech because he made a really bad movie. No, the reason that they are protesting Jerry Seinfeld is there's a couple reasons. So one, Jerry has, oh fuck, I'm not supposed to touch my eye. No, don't touch. No. Okay. Okay, I think I'm good. So Jerry, what's wrong with my eye? I think I have a sty. It's infected and swollen and hurts like a bitch. That's why I'm wearing these glasses. Yeah, I'm trying not to touch it. Okay, so Jerry Seinfeld not only offered unconditional support for Israel's attacks on Gaza, his wife not only donated to create counter-protests against ceasefire, but they visited illegal West Bank settlements for fantasy camp, romanticizing killing Palestinians as a family adventure. Like, this is a real thing. Spend a day pretending to be Israeli commandos. I just have to say, I don't care. I don't care if this is Israel. I don't care if this is Russia. I don't care what the fuck army this is. This is psychopathic behavior. This is really weird. It's really weird to spend a bunch of money to go to a fantasy camp where you engage in combat training with soldiers. I think just on that level, mentally unwell shit, yeah, I think it's really fucking weird. I do. And of course, who do you think it mostly is? Americans. Of course. Of course, this is something that Americans, wealthy Americans, partake in. Of course! Camps like these... Okay, wait, let me go. Camps like these offer a 2-hour simulation where tourists get to play Israeli commandos. Look at this freak. Look at this loser. Visitors also get to shoot at cutouts of Palestinian targets. Experience a suicide bombing in a Jerusalem market. The fuck? And a stabbing attack. Military tourism in Israel is a booming industry. These camps are mainly located in occupied Palestinian territories. You know what happens when you go to an occupied Palestinian territory? You see the occupation. You see how Israelis who are legally settled in these Palestinian territories have a different set of laws and a different, just totally different rules and whatnot than compared to the Palestinians whose territory they are legally occupying. There are roads that Israelis have illegally built in occupied Palestinian territories that the Palestinians whose land it is being built on cannot use. They cannot even use the fucking roads that are built illegally in their territory. Between 15,000 and 25,000 tourists. I suspect with this type of tourism, you never would see it. No, that's not the case. Seriously, read any account of people like Daniel Day-Lewis, Abby Martin, white Americans who have gone over to, not just white Americans, but those are just, I mean, I don't mean to make it it's only white Americans. I would say like Americans with wealth and power, and they go over to the West Bank. They see the occupation. It's something where the second that you go over there, you see the reality. You see the checkpoints that you maybe have read about, but haven't seen with your own eyes. You see the wall that there is. You see just how there are, you see the segregation. Ta-Nehisi Coates went and was like, oh yeah, this is segregation America. Ta-Nehisi also said that I believe that even though Ta-Nehisi is American, he's not Palestinian and is of note, he's Ta-Nehisi Coates. He said he went over there and I think experienced racism himself. This is insane. Look at this. Visit these facilities each year. Look at the majority of them are American Jews. Other tourists, look at these loser ass Chinese tourists. These Chinese nationals, what the fuck are you doing over there? What are you doing there? I can say this because I'm Chinese. Go back to China. This is the first time in my life I've ever said this. Go back to China. What are you doing in the occupied West Bank? What are you doing paying all this money for a fantasy terror camp, anti-terror camp? Get your asses back. Get out of here. I want to clip, but no. That's the only time I've ever said that. MAGA Kwan just came out. Exactly. Hive Obies, thank you for the gifted sub. I saw a part I got was this t-shirt. Seriously, loser shit. Anyway, that is what Jerry has done with his family. Very cool. Very normal family thing to do. Some families go to Disneyland. Some families go to Disney World. Florida is your thing. And then some families go to the occupied West Bank and engage in an anti-terror fantasy camp. You know? Ahem. Nina New, thank you for the 4 months. Subscribe because of MAGA Kwan. Hell yeah, brother. Look, we all got a little MAGA in us. Just